60. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's a beautiful day today. What a beautiful day. Copacetic, how you like it, yeah. Copacetic, how you like it, yeah. How you like it, how you like it, how you like it. Ashy Knuckles. Ashy Knuckles, Ashy Knuckles, yeah. Let's see what we got. We got some people rolling through, got some people admiring. You know what I mean? Hopefully he's turning around, just staring. Loving the faces though. Bye guys. It's so funny to do this in public places because again, people just kind of look at you. They're like, what is he doing? Even now, I don't know if you can see him, but he's back there by that car. All the way in the back. And I'm pretty sure he saw the microphone or whatever, but who knows? Who cares? You know, I'm just doing this out in the open, what have you. But hey, man, I'm going to jump right into it, man. We hopping straight into the Thoughts show. I'm not going to take too much time, you know what I mean? But we're going to take a little bit of time. If there's ever like a little sway, if it looks like the camera's moving, it's on like this little it's like this little thing. It's like a table, but it's on like strings hooked up to the like top of the roof. My common grounds on the little back patio. This is actually where me and the homie Dwyla was supposed to do our first one. Let me get this shiny lips out the way. And so I was waiting here to do it. You already know the rest. You know what I mean? I ain't gonna speak too much on that. Shout out to YP Ski. It's a beautiful day. Yeah, we had common grounds, man. We had the back patio. It's got some nice little lights, nice little aesthetic. Got some tables with some chairs. I'm on like a little stool. I love stools because it lets my feet be able to like go straight out and not be weird, and I'm not super low to the ground. You know what I mean? The sun's going down, the sun's out, it's nice and bright. It's a beautiful little warm vibe to the video. And today's just a good day, man. I really been appreciating a lot of what like God has been showing me and doing just around me, through me, and things like that. And so, you know, today's episode is not super different, but it's gonna be different. I've been inspired lately to tap in more to a holistic thoughts of me. I feel like I've been given like partial and impartial thoughts, you know, because it's like I'm a believer, but more so than not, my thoughts and my responses to my own thoughts are kind of, it seems like it's more secular than sacred. There's this song, Sacred or Secular by The Ambassador, William Deuce Branch, right? And it's like, it literally, he just goes sacred or secular, sacred or secular. Dang. Sacred or secular. And it's just like, he's literally just speaking to like, do you want to live a life that's sacred and like righteous and holy and set apart, you know, in your attempt to follow and be more like Jesus? Or are you going to be secular? Are you going to look more like, you know, everyday people who don't know Jesus, who don't believe and follow Jesus, you know, don't believe and follow God's word? And so, and that's just kind of been going through my head lately because it's like, oh man, I want a new episode. And it's like, I pray for episodes. I pray for ideas for videos and different content that I can put. And it's just like, when I pray for it, I don't even mentally prepare that myself for that idea to be an idea that's sacred, you know, to keep going with what I just said. It's more so an idea that I'm preparing myself to be secular, to reach an audience, to build my following. And it's just like, man, And these are thoughts that I'm still like, even now, just now, I just like I've just said and thought that for the first time, like what I'm doing for myself, or the ideas that I'm wanting God to send, and the ideas that I'm praying for. I'm realizing that I'm praying for ideas to become a little bit more popular, to build a little bit more of my following, and it's just like, bro, that's not what we hopped in this for. Like, you got to remember why you're doing this. Like, you made this an open space for yourself and a safe space for yourself, because it's like, one, ain't nobody really going, I mean, I think a lot. I do. I think a lot, but I'm gonna make light. The Lord has been helping me and will continue to help me make light of like little stuff that the devil could try to like use to twist and turn my ideas of what this podcast is. For example, if you see my TikTok, bro, this guy was like, I had rapped on an episode. I think it was an episode where I rapped about turtles for somebody who had commented before on a freestyle I did, and it was like, cause I said I can rap about anything, right? Like, I said something like that, and so the guy commented rap about turtles. So in the next episode, I rapped about turtles and I posted like the clip of it, and a person had commented, "Yo, people, no, it wasn't even that. What was it? What was it? What was it? It was no. It was one about the audio. That's what it was. He was like, "Yo, the audio's terrible. Can't really hear anything. Like, people really just want to hear themselves talk." Bro, I don't listen to these episodes. I don't. This is nothing new. I kid you not. What was I just doing before I got in the car and came here? By myself, thinking to myself, talking to myself. Like, this ain't nothing. I'm literally just recording what I do on a regular basis. So it's like it's funny for me to like, and it was only one comment. Like, it's not even like it's a lot of comments that come through like that. And so to see that one and just get an idea of like, okay, like if more people start doing this, I'm gonna be fine. Because again, I got to make sure that I remain to myself, and why I want to do this is, for me, is an open little diary type joint, open thoughts, converse and mingle with other people on these thoughts. And it's like, my thoughts haven't really been full. They haven't been fully me. That's what it feels like. You know what I mean? And so today we're going with a full thought with both sides of me. We're going with the secular side. We're going with the sacred side. So obviously my sacred side, I want that to show more within this episode. And so let's hop into it, bro. So check it out. I'm in High Point, right? With some of the church homies, some of the church fam, right? I'm gonna try and keep this microphone out the way. I don't have the big black thing that I typically have. So it's like, I want to make sure that I'm projecting, and this microphone is really close to my mouth. So it's like, just a better aesthetic. Or actually, it don't even matter about the aesthetic. I do what I want. Do what I want. I do what I want. I do what I want. Hey, I do what I want. I do what I want. I do what I want. But anywho, I'm at this bridal fashion show, right? It's actually all black. So it's like black vendors, black planners, black cake makers, black venue design, not venue design, like the people who decorate, like venue decorations and whatnot, like everything black, right? And some of the establishments had like workers that were non-black. So it's like, I mean, you just got to find it. You look for it, you find it. If it fits, it works. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to. You know what I'm saying? Not every company is gonna be all black. Boy, that car is in need of some help. Sound like somebody out here ringing all shots. But anywho, so we're at this bridal fashion. I'm like, yo, this is gonna be fire. I've never been to one. You know what I'm saying? And the homies I'm with, they're married. And so, I'm seeing cake designs. They got the catering. They got the caterers over there on one side. They got like the dresses and the other type stuff on one side. And so I'm enjoying the catering food. This lady, man, she had jerk. She had no. What was it? She had grits. With Oh my goodness, it's blanking. I'm blanking. What was it? What was it? Ah, it wasn't jerk. It was Jamaican. What's up? What's up? Oxtail. There you go. Hot dog. It was grits and oxtail, bro. When I tell you that thing was a 9.2 out of 10, for sure you're right on. You feel me? Like on some Keith Lee type stuff. The grits were delicious. It didn't need no butter. It didn't need none of that, you know? And the oxtail was good. You know, I don't like a lot of the fat when I try oxtails, and there was no fat. The flavor was good. It tasted like meat. It tasted like flavored seasoned meat, and that's what I love. I don't want it to be super heavy. I don't like the oxtail to be super heavy. I love the gravy to be perfect amount of flavor and saltiness with the meat. Um, and then to go with the grits, it's like you don't even really need a bunch of salt with the grits because you get the salty and the savory and the flavor with the meat. So it's like you don't want to over salt it. You know what I'm saying? It's a 9.2 out of 10. I got it. I tried it. Oh my gosh, that thing was delicious. And she had more. There was one. She had like baked seasoned chicken, something like that, with mac and cheese inside of one of those cones, a waffle cone. And I was like, bruh, y'all got more of those? She's like, nah. I was like, bruh, y'all ain't got no more of those? She's like, nah. I'm like, word, so y'all out. like I'm trying to get one. I know she going crazy. The food was hot. She had the pans on high, so the food was like hot when you got it. And I'm like, bro, this is one of the best things I've ever been to. I'll definitely go to another one. But anywho, we bring it up to boop, 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 boop. Oh gosh, I just remembered the lyrics to that song. Now I feel kind of nasty now. But it's like so the fashion show. It's a runway, right? They do it like a runway, like a regular runway, but it's dresses. It's I was assuming like the first pieces that were brought out were more so like reception type stuff. You know what I mean? And so when they bring out the reception and they bring out the bridal dresses, cool. And then it gets to the men. The men come out and it's like one of the guys had like long hair, like a weave, like a wig. He had a wig on, you know, and it didn't matter that he was clean cut. Any man could be clean cut, and moisturized, and clean nails and whatnot. And then so the things you notice is like, okay, he's moisturized. He might have some makeup on. His lips are looking not like chapstick, but more so like, um, what am I thinking? I'm about to say apple bomb, not apple bomb. What's it called? What's it called when you the shiny like the lip stuff that you put on that's not lipstick, but it's like I can't even. It's been so long since I've actually said that name. But anyway, that stuff, and I'm like, dang man, like this is a good looking dude without all that, like great face, great structure and whatnot, and he's a tall, big black man, and so and I think a key part to why I felt so I don't know, man. It's just a feeling of sadness, a feeling of like confusion. There's some hurt in there. There's some a little bit of anger, not a lot of anger, but more so just sadness and trying to make sense of what is normal nowadays. And and so he comes out, and then there's other men they don't have a wig, they don't have on any type of like lip stuff, just look like a normal guy, but the way they walk, they switching, they're walking more like a womanly model how a how a man normally walks, like without trying, you know? And and please don't think that I'm trying to condemn or judge. These are literally just thoughts. When I see these things, I have these thoughts, right? And so, um, oh, she's got headphones and she doesn't even care. Um, Question. You're gonna be in the sorry, you're gonna be in the video in this will be posted to social media. Are you okay with that?
Could you turn the other way, possibly, like right?
I could. Yes. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah. I can do that.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
yeah. Um,
Is this
let's
live?
see. Live? No.
Okay.
No, no, no. It's just a recording.
Oh.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Bum, ba-dum. Um,
Am I in it already?
yeah, when you walked up. Yeah.
Did I look good?
Did you? Um, I don't know if it like saw your face. Your head was kind of down, so
All right. That's good. Yeah,
okay.
as long as my brand is being okay.
Facts. Actually,
There's
I'll
also
just go
back
to.
there.
I'll
Yeah.
just go over there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a little bit easier. I'll do that. Do.
Sorry.
No, you're good. Ba-da, ba, ba-da-da-da, ba-da-ba-da, ba-da-ba-da-ba, ba-da-ba-da-ba. Oh, that's interesting. Oh man, no stops, no edits, none of that. We just gone. Okay. But anywho, what was I saying? What was I saying? What was I saying? Um. The men. Yes, the men. The way they walk. And again, not condemning. Not there's no judgment. It's just observation. And then I think about it. Right. It's not like, man, somebody really need to tell him he don't need to be. You know what I mean? Not no, nothing like that. If if anything, within my disagreement with some of their choices, within how they present themselves, how they carry themselves, how they want to be perceived, it's like I would speak more so to I would speak more so to the heart of it rather than the the action, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? It's like you're gonna sin. The sin is also the issue, but it's like what in you made you want to commit? What part of the temptation makes it a temptation? Like what makes it desirable? It's like why as a man would you want to wear a wig? Why as a man would do you want to walk in essentially replicate 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 or like mannerisms of not similar to a female because yeah, there are men that are softer. They're not as brute in whatever. But they're softer, so it's like their tone is a little bit softer. Um, the handshake might be a little bit softer, but still fully man. They could be married and have kids, but still have be softer than what the world typically expects of a man. And so that would be my thing. It's more like a why, not a don't do this. More like a why. What brought you and what brings you to want to do these things and indulge. And so the thing that but I'm used to it. It didn't even really hit hard. You know what I mean? Like I was sad. I felt those things. I felt those emotions. But it's like it was. I'm used to it. I'm used to it. And then it really flooded in when. So there was another guy there. He had this top on that was like super open, right? It was like a big V-neck, and I'm like, I think that's a woman's top. And then he had on like an extension piece onto his hair, and I'm like, okay, that's tough, that our black men, and and yes, I do feel this way about majority of people that are part of the LGBTQ plus. I know there's some extra letters in there like I and uh, E, I think something. and that's not in any way to disrespect because I don't know them, but I can't remember them. I heard them, I learned them, but I just forgot what they are. So, um, it's all love. It ain't no animosity or anything towards y'all. Um, and so when the guy was like telling the people when to go, the models when to go and when to walk, and then he was the very last one. We're doing women's dresses, right? And so the dresses are nice. It's a good time. Yeah, a little bit of sadness with the men and how they wanted to be perceived and how they were presenting themselves, um, and just kind of thinking, man, like what experiences, what attacks, what temptations did they experience? And those are super quick thoughts that I was having. Like, dang, like what happened to this? Like who in their family, who in their friend group, what experiences they see and bring them to this point, and how they are, um, and how they want to identify themselves. And then the guy came out in a wedding dress, all white. I kid you not, I told my homies this. I was like, yo, the guy that came in at the end probably had one of the best dresses on, but one, it's a guy in a dress. So as a believer, it's harder as a believer. Not only that, but I'm also a black man, and it's like to see that it hurts. It hurts. Like it's sad, you know. Um, and I was just like, dang man, like he's got the walk, got the the aesthetic of a woman. He's got the presence of a woman, like to 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 think towards him or about him as a man is pretty like hard or whatever. And so it just didn't, I don't know, man. It was very interesting for that to be the close. And then it's just like I- what do I say if I'm ever in a situation where I'm asked by someone, by another man, like, oh, how do I look in this dress? And it's just like, bro, like I disagree. And to give a little bit about me, it's like I've never given myself the option to make somebody feel lesser because of their choices in life and their what they find joy in life. Like I've never made anybody feel that way. Um, and it's still hard for myself to find the balance to be salty and confrontational with my beliefs and to still feel like I'm being loving, because it's like, man, that just sounds like all hate. Like I'm gonna come against like your whole identity if I if I speak to what I believe in and whatnot. And it's just like, you know, I wish there was an easier way for me to be like, hey, I don't know. I just wish it was an easier way. But yeah, my thoughts were like, what contributes to that? Because I know for some black men um, that become a part of that community, a part of that lifestyle. It's like, it was the church that did it. There was no man that took them under and said, hey, this is what it could look like for you to be a man. This is what it could sound like for you to be a man. These are, the responsibilities that you can take on, you know, um, because it's very woman heavy in the black church, um, or even a lot of churches in general is woman heavy. Like who's at the altar most of the time, praising and praying? Who's who's leading a lot of the missional work in these places? It's women. Who's doing a lot of the planning in these places? It's the women. And so I think I think it's one of those things where it's like, man, maybe they grew up in a church, in an area, in a family, in a home where it's like it's women driven, and you just easily pick up on those. You easily catch on to those spirits, those mannerisms, those norms of the community you're in. Um, Another thought for myself that I had was like, or even just now, I'm kind of just going through now previous thoughts that I've had about this topic with myself, because I do it all the time. Because it's like I love being around. Um, I love being around that type of community because it's so different. It's opposite of me. Like, to be around people that don't think the same way as me that's life giving. Like, I don't ever feel like being this Christian-y Christian. You know what I mean? Like, God has helped me understand that I'm wired to have that relationship first, to have that friendship first, to have those norms of just enjoying each other first before it's ever, hey, what do you think about Jesus? Hey, what do you think about this? Hey, would you ever come to church with me? Like, it's a relationship way before it's ever, hey, let's talk about this specifically because I care for you, or in that type of way. And so I've enjoyed that. So it's like I've had plenty of friendships, where it's where I just enjoy being around people of the LGBTQ plus community. And so, and it's that way now. It's still that way, like, treat you no different, treat you no lesser. Like, in yeah, it's very easy for me to befriend, to be around people that are different, because for so long it's like, for like five-ish to 6 years, when I was like growing the most spiritually, I was getting used to only being around believers, you know. Um, at the beginning of my spiritual growth, it was like, nah, I got my friends who don't even go to church. I got my friends who don't really believe in God, and it was fun. It was good. Um, and then I learned, like, no, it's really helpful to also have a community of like-minded people to be around, to talk to. And it's like, okay, bet, I can do that too. And then when I got it, it's like, oh, shoot, this is good to have. And and the bad thing that happened was I slowly was drifting away from the people who didn't think like me, which I shouldn't have done that. I should have stayed around and kept those relationships as tight as I had before getting the Christian community. So it's like I needed to keep the Christian community where it was, meeting up regularly, talk about the word, pray together, hang out together, keep that, but also keep, the other homies close by, keep them tight like I had before the Christian community. And now it's like I'm trying to rebuild that, and it's hard, man. It's hard to be in spaces and make friends that way as a guy, as a black guy, um, because you don't want to give off the wrong vibe. I don't want to hurt my witness. I don't want to be in a position where it's like I'm not giving off the identity of being different and being set apart. And I'm slowly still trying to figure that out. I'm not perfect in it. I'm not, I'll still go to a bar and hang out. I'll still go to a pool hall and hang out, and do these different things. And it's like I'm still working through, all right, Lord, how can I be here and not hurt my witness? How can I be around these people and not hurt my witness, And it's just like, I'm going to love the people regardless. I'm going to have a good time regardless. But like, how can I still be set apart in these spaces, Um, and and I want to be set apart also with men. And yeah, when I see black women that are in same-sex relationships, it's just like, man, it's hard, because it's like, did we turn them away from men? Did we make them feel curious about what it would be like to be with another woman? Because a black man's not going to love me. A black man's not going to treat me the way I want to be treated. A black man's not going to be affectionate the way I need him to be affectionate. And it's like, we can, right? We have the ability. We're very capable. Who's going to tell us that we are? You know? And within a lot of churches, you don't have that. You know, in my church when I was younger, yeah, the men were at the altar, men were praising. Won't that often. Yeah, men would help run some things, they help plan some things. It won't that often. You know, who's mainly the missionaries? Who makes up majority of the missionaries at black churches? Tell me. It's women. Like what? Where are the men? Like and the list goes on. The list goes on, man. You know, how often are your deacons up at the altar worshiping with their hands up? How often are the deacons, you know, going around being hyped for God within the service during appropriate times? You know? And it's not that you have to hoop and holler. It's not that you have to to be shouting all the time. But we have to set an example as true worshipers. Worshipers who worship in truth and in faith, you know? And like the only way you can do that and the only way you can have that as a norm for your men and women in churches to have examples. Like the women are going to be there. Women are going to be up. Women are going to be loud for God. Women are going to stand and raise their hands and worship for God. But are the men, will more men step up and say, you know what, yeah, I need to be doing that? And so when I think to myself of like, what is it that causes black men to go down this path? What causes black men to want to identify this way? What causes this sense of, you know, and it's a lot of other stuff, man. I went down a rabbit hole yesterday on YouTube and I was like watching a lot of stuff and I saw Jamal Bryant come up, right? And the first thing that I saw, he had said, Jesus was for 85% of his life he was wrong, right? Not doing the will of his heavenly Father. He was doing the will of his earthly father, right? And it's just like, what? And I just kept listening just to see what else he was saying. And all the other stuff he was saying was pretty crazy, right? Even just now, a man that I'm pretty sure was probably a part of the LGBTQ plus community was just walking by and sat down. I ended up talking about this, and it's like you probably saw him in the reflection, because with that type of style and you know the hair, how he was sitting over there, it was like I feel like he was. It's like how do I can't just introduce myself and make friends just because I know he'd be a fun person to be around. There was a guy in one of my classes, in two of my classes, two of them. It was two of them. Moochie and Trey. Shout out to them, man. They're funny. But they're just funny to be around. The jokes they make, obviously some of them are bad, and I'm like, oh man, that's crazy. That's messed up. You know, I don't want to. I want to be cognizant of how me laughing and my responses can support that type of thing. But it's like when I would catch myself, it wasn't every time. There were some jokes or some stuff they would say about people, and it's just like, bro, that's just funny, and I just laugh, and I didn't catch it in the moment. But you know, yeah, there were moments where it's like, dang, that's too far. Dang, that's messed up. But it'd be in a loving way, like, dang, man, you ain't gotta say all that, man. Come on. You know, not in a way of like, bro, you're a terrible person. Look at how you're talking about them. Like, nah, it wasn't like that. But it's just hard because with the videos I saw, there was one video where it was two black men talking about how they appreciate Jamal Bryant. Jamal Bryant had apologized to a gay pastor who had recently been married, and Jamal Bryant was apologizing on behalf of all black churches, right? And so he was saying that the black churches have kind of ostracized and exiled them and pushed them out and wrongfully talked about them. Now, don't get me wrong. I agree with all of this. You know what I mean? Like, I've heard sermons where it's like they idolize homosexuality, going to the club, drinking and drugging, you know, and sex, right? They idolize that when they're talking about sin. You know, they don't talk about the stuff that happens with some of the mothers. They don't talk about the stuff that happened with the ushers and the youth leaders and the deacons when people are being rude and being mean and cursing people and speaking to people incorrectly. You know what I mean? They don't talk about that. They don't talk about the lying that happens within the church or people on staff. They don't idolize and put those on a pedestal. You know what I mean? That's not common within a black church, right? Um, and obviously I can't speak to a white church. I grew up in a black church. And so when he said that, I'm like, dang, no, the black churches do that. They probably, a lot of black churches probably still do that and think, no, this is what I need to preach because it's in the Bible. We got to preach against homosexuality because it's running rampant. The devil is working. Like, it's been a thing. It's not the only sin. Relax, bro. Like you're not about to help nobody come have a Jesus moment and experience Jesus with this type of talk and this type of message, man. I went back home one day and the pastor, man, it wasn't my uncle, but one of the pastor now at my home church, bro, not putting my mouth on him to speak down to him, but bro, his speech was not seasoned, bro. He came with the bland, I'm in love with the man. And then at the end of the sermon, how he started the sermon was, I'm in love with the man. And then obviously we all knew he's married. He's not about to confess that he's in love with the actual man. You know, but obviously throughout the sermon, it's like, okay, yeah, he's talking about Jesus. And at the end of the sermon, he's like, I hope y'all didn't think I was talking about another man. I ain't no homosexual. Like the way he said it, the why did he say it? Like, clearly you're not. You're married. Like, if that was a struggle and God led you to talk about that struggle and that temptation and how he's helping you fight against it, by all means. But it just didn't make sense. It wasn't loving. There was no salty love. It wasn't salty love. It was just bland, rude, right? And I'm just like, there's clearly and definitely will still be pastors who preach like that and condemn that and are judgmental in how they speak to a specific sin, right? Like if we see it as sin, bet we see the sin. But the way that we speak to it, the way that you preach about it, the way that you respond and talk and approach people that are a part of that and deal with that is so important and vital, bro. Because like I don't know, I even have a friend now, man. It's like, she's like, I don't know. We had a conversation and, you know, it's late. Yeah, it was just a vulnerable moment for both of us. Um, it probably wasn't the best time for me, keep it a buck with you. But like, I still spoke my piece. I spoke my truth. I told her what I thought. Asked questions to dig into what she was thinking. Because at the time, it's like, my view of the Bible and truth wasn't the same as hers, and that's just what it is. Like, um, that's nothing bad. It's just something that that's her thing. All I can do is be here, be a friend, give the truth that I know and believe, and make sure that I'm checking in with God. Like, all right, God, like if I'm not helping, like, bro, don't let me say nothing, but like help me with how I'm speaking to her in this moment. And I was just doing that throughout the conversation, and now it's like it feels as though our friendship has changed, um, and it's just like, dang, man, like what could I have changed? How else could I have talked for this not to happen? Because when I think back to the conversation, it's like I spoke strongly to how God had changed me in ways and helped me understand things with what I was doing was wrong, and how He could do the same thing for her. It wasn't a, yo, you suck, you're really weak, you shouldn't be falling to this. It was like, yo, if this is a struggle, if this is a temptation, like, God can help you change it. You just got to be open to letting Him do it. Like, I remember talking like that and saying those things. And it's not like, if I was wrong, I would say I was wrong and I could have did better. Like, And homie, if you do see this or hear this, like, let me know. Like, yeah, the way you was talking was wild. But from what I remember and what I was saying and how that conversation went, it didn't seem like I came at you in a way that was unloving and not salty um, and it wasn't just bland, like, coming at you for stuff. But I think a lot of times there's a struggle between knowing how important or how high we value identity nowadays and how little we value God's predestined identity for us. Um, the second video that I was mentioning was a video of two black men and a woman. The woman was the host. She was like, it's like some type of channel where they interview people and talk about stuff that's going on. And she was asking one of the men, how do you feel about Jamal Bryant apology? So Jamal Bryant apologized on behalf of all the gay churches, and he's like saying how he supports the community and he thinks that they should be, how that community should be brought more into the church and inclusive in the church. Um, and I'll share my thoughts on that later in a second. And the men were like, the first guy was like, yeah, I appreciate his apology and it's well overdue. And I'm like, dang, man, like, yeah, some parts are long overdue, but the inclusive and support, like, and how he meant the support, I didn't agree with. Should they be supported with being in the church and being included in the church? Yes, but not the way that I knew he was saying it. You know, what it seemed like and what I understood from it was he saying, yes, gay pastors should be a thing. Yes, homosexuality is actually okay. Like, you can be a believer and have sex and have marriage and have relationships with people of the same sex. Like, that's what he was, I feel like I'm getting bit by a mosquito right here. That's what he was alluding to. That's what he was meaning. If he did mean that, I would have went back and just been like, all right, what does he mean? And so when they're saying that, the other guy came on. He's like, yes, um, I believe in God, and if people are bringing up these Old Testament things about Sodom and Gomorrah and all these things, and he's more of like, yeah, if the Bible says this, why are you doing it? If the Bible says this, why are you doing it? Are you going to talk about tattoos? Are you going to talk about and that was like the demeanor he had, like the feeling and the passion that he had behind it. He was hurt. He's complex because he feels his identity was being attacked, has been attacked, not being attacked, has been attacked by churches, by men, by women, that look just like him, come from same backgrounds as him, like growing up in the area that he was in, whatever it was. And it's like they didn't support him that how he felt he should have been supported. And I agree, like, yeah, he wasn't. Like, look at the anger that he has. Look at the hurt that he has and how he's talking. Like, nobody helped him how God would have wanted him to be helped. And that's not God's fault. That's our fault to not say, all right, Lord, how can I not push him to further dislike what's happening in the church? How can I love him and speak to him and just be with him as a brother at this church, as a family member, cousin, auntie, uncle, without making him feel like, nah, this is okay. God's okay with this, because of this. Like, who said, let me go to the Bible and say, hey, you know what? If God says this about what you believe, like, what makes you want to believe other? What makes you want to create God to believe how you want him to believe, Because there's another one. When I tell you I went down a rabbit hole, I went down a rabbit hole. I watched like 4 videos. This other video, this guy was interviewing a gay pastor, a pastor of 8 years, just got married. And he's like, the question that made the guy walk off the set and stop the interview was, so this is the man that you married. This is your husband over here. And then he was like, well, will you call him your husband or your wife? Is he the wife or the husband? And my first thought is, yes, that's offensive. My second thought is, well, I mean, is it offensive to ask? And it wasn't like it wouldn't have no attitude. But he was just like, and this is your husband, right? And so, well, is he the husband or is he the wife? You know, and like the tone and everything was like just plain and simple. No underlying type stuff, no undertone, and it's just like, yes, the question is salty. The question is, well, I'm about to have to dip up out of here. The question is, the salty and offensive because he has these preconceived beliefs and notions and understands that God is for me. Like, I'm a pastor of 8 years, just got married. Like, this is God. Like, God knows me. God knows my heart. I know God. I preach about God. I teach people about God and Jesus. And what the guy had been saying was, people can make God be what they need him to be depending on the situation. He was saying that, he was saying that before the man asked him that question. And I'm just like, that's completely wrong. You can't just make God what you want him to be in the situation. Like, that's literally your God. Like, you're not letting God be God if you're like, all right, God, I need you to be like this. And I thought of different scenarios where I'm like, I thought of dry scenarios, and I thought of little petty scenarios where I'm like, if God switches up, then he's not an unchangeable God. Like, he's a God that's double-minded. He got to be him and be what you want him to be. So that, like, he literally tells us not to be like that. Like, that's in the Bible. And so I'm just thinking, like, man, that's crazy. And then he left on the question where he's like, and I feel like there were questions before that he should have left on. Um, and because he had talked, he was like, why did you feel that you were called? And then, did you go to seminary school? Did you do all this? Then he was like, so you weren't called, you just started pastoring. And the guy was like, justifying. He's like, no, I was called. I felt called by God. And I'm like, bro, I would have left then. He coming at your calling. Like, if you truly see God as this man who loves and cherishes those who need to be liberated, who need to be freed in some way, it's like, you should have been upset about that, but you weren't, but you stayed. And it's just like, man, there was just so many things, and the rabbit hole just led me to understand, like, yo, there is so much void caused by Christians, caused by evangelicals, caused by the Christian evangelical racism that goes on. Go to Jude 3, yo. If you black, if you're not black, go to Jude 3. They have great conversations about these types of stuff. Like, why do people leave the church? Why are people, thinking that Christianity is a white man's religion? Not Christianity in the Americanized sense of Christianity, but Christianity meaning a follower of Jesus, a follower and believer of Jesus. And it's just like, their videos are so helpful. So the people who are on there, great theologians, practical people. There was one that I even shared with some of my homies, who I feel like we're kind of thinking about this question. The video is titled, is Christianity bad for my mental health? And it's just like, bruh, they talked about so many things that pastors, even now, have never touched on. And they've been pastoring for 20, 30, 40 years. And it's like, why am I almost 30 and I'm hearing about how, and I'm hearing great biblical sound doctrine and theology of how God can work in the supernatural and help us with these mental illnesses, but God has also given us ideas, given us medicines, given us technology to help combat it. Like, you can do both, and it doesn't need to just be prayer. It needs to be prayer and doctors and medicine and help and other people, a social community that can help you get through this. And it's just like, I feel like it should be the same for people who deal with identity issues. And for myself, I just have I have a big heart for black men who haven't accepted their identity as a black man in Christ. Like, you can be a black man, but just be in Christ. Like, you can be on the softer side, just be in Christ on the softer side. Like, and so that's just been what I'm thinking, man. Hopefully I continue to just kind of be open and vulnerable like this. If there was anything that I said that didn't sound or seemed like it was seasoned with love, and salty with love, like, like I do apologize if it sounds offensive. I didn't feel like I said anything offensive, but obviously we have blind spots. So, let me know if you hear something. Hit me up on Instagram, TikTok, whatever. Just let me know, bro, because I want to do more of these. I want to, because this feels good, man. I feel this like freedom of like, yo, I want people to think about this. I want them to hear my side. I want God to be heard and seen, because God has a heart for these people, just as much as he has a heart for people selling drugs or doing drugs. He has a heart for these people just as much as somebody who wants to get an abortion. He has a heart for these people just as much as as people who feel alone and hated by their family and all these things. And it's just like, that was just something. This is just something recently that I've had a saddened and a broken heart for. So stay tuned for more of these. I enjoyed this. Hopefully I can bring more people on to share sacred and secular sides of views and thoughts. Maybe this would be a new trend. Let's please God and not, man. You feel me? Don't want to waste this platform. You know what I mean? All right, y'all. That's it. Peace.